Should I take the SAT or the ACT? Hi, my name is Sarah Haskins from Great Power Learning Oldsmar, and I'm going to help you answer that question. Now, there are several differences between the SAT and the ACT. However, more generally, the SAT is a critical thinking, reasoning test at its core, while the ACT is more of a content-based, learned information test. Now, this can help you or your student figure out what they like more. Does your student like the reasoning, or do they like more stuff that they learned in school? Now, both of these tests are set up a little bit differently also. The SAT has 3 content areas: critical reading, math, and writing. And the essay of the SAT is in that writing section. Now, there are 10 sections on the SAT that cover those 3 content areas, 3 sections for each content area, and 1 experimental section that isn't scored. The ACT, on the other hand, has 5 content areas in math, reading, science, English, and an optional writing test. Now, these content areas are given in big chunks, so each section is just going to be 1 area. For example, the English test is all given at once. There are several differences in the content area between the ACT and the SAT. The ACT essay is optional. However, most colleges require you to take the ACT with an essay portion, so it's not really optional. Also, the ACT essay question is a lot more straightforward, and so students tend to enjoy the ACT essay a lot more. The ACT math covers Algebra 1, Algebra 2, trigonometry, geometry, and a little bit of probability. Also, the ACT English portion is a lot heavier on grammar, and especially punctuation, with less of a focus on vocabulary. The SAT essay is required for every student to take, whether they want to take it or not. Also, the question for the essay on the SAT is a little bit harder to think through. They're asking students to think more critically and be able to decipher what the question is. So students tend to find the SAT essay a little bit harder to write because it's harder to figure out what they really want you to write about. The SAT math covers a little bit less math. It covers Algebra 1, Algebra 2, geometry, and some statistics and probability at a little bit higher level than the ACT, but still not an especially high level. The SAT also, on their English reading portion, covers way more vocabulary than the ACT does. There are entire sections on the critical reading for the SAT that is just vocabulary based, where they do a lot less with the grammar rules. Once you know whether you want to take the SAT or the ACT, it's important to know what scores you need on the SAT or the ACT to get into the colleges that you want to go to. Just to give you an idea, for the state colleges in Florida, we're going to give you the average scores for the SAT and the ACT that you'll need. For UF, the average SAT score out of 2,400 is a 1960 and a 30 on the ACT. At FSU, the average SAT score is an 1860 with a 28 on the ACT. For UCF, the average SAT score is 1840 or a 27 on the ACT. At USF, the average SAT score is 1710 or an average ACT score of 26. Also, for Bright Futures, which is a great scholarship for students who can reach those requirements, you'll need an 1170 for the lower level Bright Futures or a 1290 for the upper level Bright Futures on the SAT, or you'll need a 26 for lower level Bright Futures or a 29 on the upper level Bright Futures on the ACT to get those Bright Future scholarships. Now remember, at Great Power Learning, we have amazing prep classes to help you get the scores that you need to get into those colleges that you want to, as well as help you figure out whether you want to take the SAT or the ACT. We offer a 10-week group program or some one-on-one coaching just to make sure you can maximize your score on these tests and get where you want to go. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found this information helpful. If you would like any more information about the SAT, the ACT, or the classes that we offer, You can check us out at gradepowertampabay.com.